What was hygiene like on pirate ships? Pirate ships were notoriously filthy, there's no sugarcoating it. Life as a pirate was perilous and disease-ridden, though pirates did make occasional attempts to clean themselves and their environment. Maintaining hygiene on a pirate ship was a constant struggle. Limited access to clean water and cramped quarters led to the quick spread of illness. Exposure to harsh weather and poor nutrition further weakened the pirates' health. While baths, laundry, and oral care were rare, pirates surprisingly had some access to medical resources. Life aboard a pirate ship was not for the faint of heart, or those sensitive to strong odors. Here are some gritty details of what daily life was like on a pirate ship. Teeth were cleaned using a chew stick, if they were cleaned at all. Pirates weren't exactly famous for their dental hygiene, and for good reason. If they made any effort to care for their teeth, it usually involved chewing on a wooden stick. Chew sticks, which date back to ancient times, were a common tool for cleaning teeth well into the 18th century. However, finding fresh chew sticks while at sea was a challenge. When they couldn't get hold of one, pirates typically went without any form of oral care. If pirates bathed, they had to use seawater. Pirates did have regular access to water, but it wasn't used for bathing. Fresh water was reserved for cooking and drinking. When they needed to clean themselves, pirates likely jumped into the ocean. However, bathing wasn't a frequent activity. Leaving the ship was risky, and salt water could irritate the skin. Additionally, pirates were often wary of sea monsters, adding another reason to avoid taking a dip. Some ships may have made soap from whale blubber. During the rise of the whaling industry in the 18th century, pirates and privateers often targeted whaling ships for their valuable resources. Whales had been hunted for centuries, with commercial whaling dating back to the 10th century on the Azores Islands, where whale blubber was processed for various uses. Oil, lubricant, and soap were among the products derived from whale blubber, which pirates might have seized or even produced on board. However, making soap from whale blubber was an unpleasant task. Hunting whales was exhausting, and processing the blubber was a foul-smelling and labor-intensive job. The bathroom, called the head, was just a hole in a plank. Pirate ships didn't have toilets. Instead, they had heads, which were simply holes cut into the planks that emptied directly into the water. While Royal Navy ships provided heads for common sailors at the front and separate facilities for officers at the back, it's unlikely that pirates made such distinctions. The plank and hole were typically located at the bow, or head, of the ship, which is how the term came to be. Today, the term is still used to refer to toilets on ships and in other settings. During a storm, sailors and pirates often used a pot instead of the plank and would toss the contents overboard when the weather improved. Medical care often involved amputation and pillaged ointments. Whether from battles, brawls, or routine shipboard accidents, pirates frequently needed to treat cuts, burns, illnesses, and other injuries. Most ships carried a medicine chest stocked with ointments, salves, and even surgical instruments. When one of Blackbeard's ships, belonging to Edward Teach, died in 1718, was discovered off the coast of North Carolina, its medical chest contained items like scissors, screws, likely used for tourniquets or bloodletting, and mortars and pestles for preparing remedies. According to Captain Charles Johnson's A General History of the Pirates, Blackbeard acquired many of these medical supplies through ransom. Running low on essentials, the notorious pirate blockaded every ship in Charleston, South Carolina, until the government provided what he demanded. Johnson claims the ransom included a chest of goods valued between £300 and £400. Although Johnson's general history is sometimes questioned for its accuracy, it offers valuable insights into pirate life. Former pirate and lieutenant governor of Jamaica, Henry Morgan, died in 1688, was also said to have allocated large sums for medical supplies. Given the constant threat of disease and injury, pirates ensured they had the tools and medicines necessary for amputations and other treatments. Most of a pirate's time was spent cleaning their ship. Pirates devoted a considerable amount of time to cleaning their ships, both inside and out. Every crew member had assigned chores, spending their days scrubbing decks, making repairs, and maintaining their weapons. Every few months, the ship would find a safe location to careen, tilting it onto its side to scrape the hull. This process removed barnacles and mollusks, which helped prevent shipworm infestations, often referred to as the termites of the sea. Pirates' diets resulted in cavities and lost teeth. Pirate ships stocked basic food supplies that were resistant to spoiling, such as hardtack, dried meats, and plenty of alcohol. However, pirates often supplemented these staples with birds, turtles, and other protein sources they encountered along the way. They also added spices and seasonings when available, sometimes tossing various ingredients into a pot to make stew. These stews could include fish, cabbage, eggs, garlic, and olives, but more unconventional items like oysters and snakes might also find their way into the mix. Table manners were practically non-existent on a pirate ship. Captain George Roberts once noted that the crew of Edward Lowe's ship ate like a kennel of hounds, snatching and catching the victuals from one another. Unfortunately, the pirate diet was often lacking in essential nutrients. A deficiency in vitamin C frequently led to scurvy, causing teeth to fall out. Toothaches were typically resolved through extraction. Sea surgeon William Clowes described the severe dental effects of scurvy. Scurvy and dysentery were common. Scurvy was a widespread affliction on both pirate and non-pirate ships for centuries, with estimates suggesting that up to 2 million seamen died from the disease between the 15th and 18th centuries. Early symptoms of scurvy included rotting gums that produced black, putrid blood. Legs would become black and gangrenous, leading one 16th century sea surgeon to cut away his own flesh to release the foul blood. The surgeon provided further details on the severe effects of the disease. Ships may have had surgeons. Pirates could obtain ship surgeons either by force or, when necessary, by assigning inexperienced individuals to the role. John Devon served as the surgeon for Captain Bridgeman, also known as Henry Every, after the notorious pirate was declared a pirate by the English Privy Council in 1696. Devon was later put on trial for piracy in 1698 but was found not guilty. Archibald Murray worked for 3 different pirate captains, starting with Captain Howell Davis's ship in 1718. Cole Wyeth was the surgeon aboard a vessel commandeered by pirate Captain Edward Lowe in 1723, and he continued his duties even after the ship came under the control of Captain Francis Spriggs. When Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard, captured the ship La Concorde in 1717, he took its 3 surgeons as prisoners. He renamed the ship Queen Anne's Revenge and likely kept the surgeons captive when he raided Charleston, South Carolina, the following year. Insects, illness, and danger were always present. Among the items in Blackbeard's medical chest was a urethral syringe used for treating syphilis, a disease common at sea along with fevers, measles, and smallpox. Vermin and insects were also a persistent problem. John Esquemeling, a member of Henry Morgan's crew in the late 17th century, described various gnats, including tiny ones, no bigger than a grain of mustard, that bite so sharply as to create little ulcers on the flesh. Ships were plagued by rats, lice, fleas, and bees, leading doctors to recommend fumigation. However, caution was advised with brimstone for fumigation, as it was considered venomous and dangerous, an enemy to the brain. On board a pirate ship, sunburn, heat exhaustion, and dehydration were risks, alongside injuries from gunshots and other projectiles. In winter, pirates were also susceptible to frostbite and hypothermia. If clothing was washed, seawater was likely used. Descriptions of captains wearing a rich crimson waistcoat and breeches shape modern ideas of pirate attire, but it's more likely that pirates dressed for practicality. They often wore the same clothes for days, weeks, or even months, with garments becoming soaked with sweat, blood, and other bodily fluids. When pirates were ashore, they might have used the opportunity to rinse their clothes in seawater or any available water source, but soap was likely not part of their cleaning routine. Pirates may have shaved, but only if they really trusted the man with the razor. It's hard to determine how frequently pirates shaved, if at all. Surgeons on pirate ships might have handled shaving duties along with their medical responsibilities. When dealing with trauma, a surgeon would certainly need to shave patients, gaining experience with a razor on a moving, swaying ship. John Woodhull's 17th century treatise, The Surgeon's Mate, suggests that ship surgeons carried 10 razors along with various sizes of scissors, making it feasible to provide both shaving and haircuts.